Chapter 7. Algorithm. Learning objective. Algorithms in our daily lives. Algorithms in computer science. Advantages and disadvantages of algorithm. Characteristics of an algorithm. Flow chart. An algorithm is the sequence of steps for solving a problem, based on carrying out a sequence of specified actions. An algorithm typically plays out in a finite number of steps and it frequently involves repetition of an operation. Algorithms are not just used in mathematics and computer science but are also used in daily life. Algorithms in our daily lives. Let us look at a few examples of algorithms in our daily lives. Take, for instance, the task of making tea. Now, the algorithm here would be the set of instructions one would follow to make this tea. So, the algorithm would include the following steps. 1. Heat water in a pan. 2. Add crushed ginger to it. 3. Add tea leaves. 4. Add milk. 5. When it boils, add sugar. 6. Let it simmer for 2 to 3 minutes. Following the above instructions would produce the desired result and solve our problem, fulfill the task. Similarly, let's look at another example to grow curry leaves in a pot. So, this algorithm would read something like this. 1. Take some soil into a pot. 2. Sow fresh curry leaf seeds in this soil. 3. Keep the seeds, soil damp. 4. Make sure the temperature is fairly warm, at least 20 degrees Celsius. 5. Once it has taken root in a few weeks with enough warmth and moisture, make sure it continues to receive sunlight. 6. Feed it weekly with fertilizer solution and trim the leaves as needed. Algorithms in computer science. In computer systems, an algorithm is an instance of logic written in software, by software developers and meant for the intended computers to produce output from the given input. So, to get a computer to do a task, you need to write a computer program. Doing so means telling the computer, step by step, exactly what you want it to do. The computer then runs, reads the program and executes the commands shared in it by following each step mechanically to complete the said task. This series of related commands or steps is a computer algorithm. Boot up. Here are the steps to brush your teeth. As you will see, they aren't in the correct sequence. Organize them in the correct sequence and prepare the correct algorithm. Rinse mouth with water. Put toothpaste on it. Brush all teeth. Put toothbrush back. Grab your toothbrush. Advantages and disadvantages of algorithm. Advantages. 1. It is a stepwise representation of a solution to a given problem, which makes it easy to understand. 2. An algorithm uses a definite procedure. 3. It is not dependent on any programming language, so it is easy to understand for anyone even without programming knowledge. 4. Every step in an algorithm has its logical sequence, so it is easy to debug. 5. By using an algorithm, the problem is broken down into smaller pieces or steps, hence, it is easier for a programmer to convert it into an actual program. Disadvantages. 1. Algorithm is time-consuming. 2. It is difficult to show branching and looping in algorithms. 3. Big tasks are difficult to put in algorithms. Characteristics of an algorithm. An algorithm must consist following characteristics. Characteristics of an algorithm. Finiteness. An algorithm should have a finite number of steps and it should end after a finite time. Input. An algorithm may have many inputs or no inputs at all. Output. It should result in at least one output. Effectiveness. Each step must be simple and should take a finite amount of time. Definiteness. Each step must be clear, well-defined and precise. There should be no ambiguity. How to design an algorithm? To write an algorithm, the following things are needed as a prerequisite. 1. The problem is to be solved by this algorithm. 2. The constraints of the problem must be considered while solving the problem. 3. The input to be taken to solve the problem. 4. The output is to be expected when the problem is solved. 5. The solution to this problem is in the given constraints. Then the algorithm is written with the help of the above parameters such that it solves the problem. Fact Corner. The algorithm is described as a series of logical steps in a language that is easily understood. For a computer to use these instructions, they need to be written in a language that a computer can understand, known as a programming language. Flowchart. A flowchart is a graphical representation of an algorithm. It makes use of symbols that are connected among them to indicate the flow of information and processing. The process of drawing a flowchart for an algorithm is known as flowcharting. Here is an example that shows how a flowchart can be used in showing a simple sum process. The process for making a cup of tea. Start. Turn on kettle. Wait for kettle to boil. Boiled water. Add tea leaves. Wait 2 to 3 minutes. Add milk and sugar. Stop. Flowchart symbols. Flowchart symbols are specific shapes used to create a visual representation of a program. Some of the basic flowchart symbols can be seen here. Process. Decision making. Input, output. Connector. Display. Start, end. Functions of flowchart symbols. Each symbol has its function within the program. Each symbol represents a piece of the code written for the program. The start-end symbol can be used to represent either the beginning or end of a program. The symbol for process allows you to show how the program is functioning, like when you need the program to calculate two numbers or even analyze the information. When you decide to enter data, show it on the screen, or print it to paper, you use the input-output symbol. The display symbol signifies that information is displayed to the user. Advantages of using flowcharts. The advantages of flowcharts are as follows. 1. Communication. Flowcharts are a better way of communicating the logic of a system to all concerned. 2. Effective analysis. With the help of a flowchart, the problem can be analyzed more effectively. 3. Proper documentation. Program flowcharts serve as good program documentation, which is needed for various purposes. 4. Efficient coding. The flowcharts act as a guide or blueprint during the system's analysis and program development phase. Differences between algorithm and flowchart. Let's see the differences between algorithm and flowchart. Algorithm. Flowchart. 1. An algorithm is a step-by-step procedure to solve a problem. A flowchart is a diagram created with different shapes to show the flow of data. 2. The algorithm is complex to understand. The flowchart is easy to understand. 3. In an algorithm, plain text is used. In the flowchart, symbols, shapes are used. 4. The algorithm is easy to debug. The flowchart is hard to debug. 5. The algorithm is difficult to construct. The flowchart is simple to construct. 6. The algorithm does not follow any rules. The flowchart follows rules to be constructed. 7. The algorithm is the pseudocode for the program. The flowchart is just a graphical representation of that logic. Concise. An algorithm is a procedure or formula for solving a problem, based on carrying out a sequence of specified actions. Algorithms are not just used in mathematics and computer science but are also used in daily life. An algorithm uses a definite procedure. An algorithm should have a finite number of steps and it should end after a finite time. The process of drawing a flowchart for an algorithm is known as flowcharting. When you decide to enter data, show it on the screen, or print it to paper, you use the input-output symbol.